Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for taking a moment to watch this video for our parents of our GSA 2021 students. Congratulations to all of you for your students' great success, and we really look forward to working with them this summer on the campus of the University of Kentucky. So bear with me for just one moment. I'm going to share my screen, and we will get underway. Let me see here. One moment. Great. So in this video today, we are going to be talking about how GSA values the safety of our students, also how to contact GSA during the summer program, and just some other helpful information for you all as parents and guardians of GSA students. So the first thing that we wanted to address with you today is that safety is our first concern. We know it's a big deal for you all to be leaving your children with us for 3 weeks. So we take that very seriously, that responsibility very seriously. And of course, we're doing this during what is hopefully the tail end of a pandemic. So we will have a variety of COVID-19 safety protocols in place this summer. You've received information on those. So this is a big picture overview here. But just as a reminder, all students, and this is the same for faculty and staff as well, will either need to provide us with their vaccination card if they've been fully vaccinated in advance of the summer program, or if they've not been fully vaccinated, they will need to provide a negative COVID test to us before campus arrival. So how you submit that to us is information that is being sent to you or has been sent to you potentially with this video. But if you have any questions, let us know. Once everyone is on campus, everyone will be tested for COVID upon arrival. And we will also have all school testing for COVID-19 weekly, once a week during the program. And that's for all GSA students and personnel, regardless of vaccination status. In the unfortunate situation that a student or a faculty member is experiencing COVID symptoms, that person will be put into an isolation room within the dorm hall, and testing will be provided to that student so we can quickly ascertain whether it actually is COVID or not. So again, more information about COVID-19 procedures have been sent to you, but if you have questions, let us know. Beyond COVID-19, just some information about our internal practices in terms of maximizing student safety and prioritizing it. First off, all students are held accountable to a code of guidelines and expectations. You all signed off on those in your acceptance agreements, and we will make sure that the students have those going into the summer program again. But just to emphasize that those guidelines and expectations aren't just rules for the fun of it, but they are in place for the safety of our community as well. So I just mentioned that here because it really is something that we consider as a safety practice. All of our faculty and staff have undergone trainings or orientations by the time the students arrive, and that includes, for some of them, training in first aid and CPR, supporting teen mental health and emergency preparedness. Also, all of the adults taking care of your children during GSA have successfully undergone background checks, and students are always going to be under their supervision. This is not a program where we tell students to see us on the other side of campus in half an hour. They are always going to be under the supervision and guidance and escort of a faculty or staff member. And that person, that responsible adult, that GSA employee, is always going to have a cell phone with them as well. Students can't have their cell phones outside of their dorm hall. That's something that we implement to it supports students' ability to focus during the program. But we know for some people that can cause anxiety from a safety perspective of their students not having a phone. They will always be within close contact of someone who does have one. And finally, program staff, myself included as director of the program, will live on campus with the students and will be responsive to any of their needs 24/7. So if something happens in the middle of the night, that requires a crisis response or requires administrative support, we're there and we will help out the students, and we'll keep you looped in as or if needed should something come up, 24/7, any time of the day, not just while we're in class. In addition to GSA prioritizing your student safety, the University of Kentucky does so as well. So we're really lucky to be on a campus that is so well resourced as UK. There's a lot of emergency preparedness, notification, response systems in place. And one of the greatest support systems we have at the University of Kentucky in terms of safety is the University of Kentucky Police Department. So we're very lucky to be joined today by two members of UKPD, Officers Alan Saylor and Andy Eilert sent. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment. Andy, Alan, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for taking good care of us while we're on campus. Would you mind just sharing with us a little bit about UKPD and how GSA is supported by you?
Sure. We've had a long-standing relationship, let me just say that, with GSA for several years now. And I assure all parents that there's an air of safety being on the forefront of all children, your child coming to campus and participating in this great program that's available to them to live and learn. Let me just say with some caution that is very much a part of what I do as a police officer, and that is just inform and let you know that you're coming to a university that has a low crime rate. However, keep in mind that it is a city within a city, and there are no fences and guards to separate out who should be coming into the university and who shouldn't. And so with that in mind, people should take responsibility, including your children, for their own personal safety. We grow sometimes to as high as 65,000 people in peak seasons at the University of Kentucky. And if we were by definition a city, we would be larger than Bowling Green, which is the third largest city in the state of Kentucky. So we know that we would have a certain mindset in the city of Bowling Green. We just ask that everybody, including the visitors and students and faculty and staff here, have that same type of mindset. We're coming up on our 50th anniversary as a police department. And so we've been around for a very long time. I would consider our agency one of the most progressive agencies in the state. Our training is bar none when it comes to comparison with other agencies. And I can tell you that we're getting national training through the federal agencies, as well as within the state and locally, and any opportunity that we can get privately. I want you to know that you have a professional agency that is there to work with people like Nick and their program staff. And Nick knows us well in community services, Andy and I. And I assure you, if he had issues or problems, we will coordinate with him and work with him and get whatever need he may have settled and solved. So I'm going to turn it over to Andy. Andy's going to talk about some of the programs that the program coordinators will have access to for your children while they're visiting here. And so I'll turn it over to her.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan. Like Alan said, some of the things that we have, the very low crime rate. And one way you can look some of those things up is we have a crime log. There's something called the Clary-Minger Act, where we have to document everything that's ever happened. We have to keep a log of that for at least 3 years. We keep it for much longer than that. But if you want to look something like that up, if you go to the UK police website, you can actually look up the crime log and everything that's ever happened. And when you look at some of those statistics, you're going to see, like I said, it's not a foolproof or nothing ever happens. You're going to see one of the biggest things that happen is going to be a theft. And it's usually theft of opportunity, where somebody leaves something laying around and then somebody sees it and is going to take it. So, keep your valuables locked up and out of sight, out of mind. So that's one of the things that you can look up on is the UKPD website. And there you're also going to see things like our mission statement, where we treat everybody fairly equally and have accountability. You see all of our core statements and mission statements there. And we're going to follow President Capilouto's advice on that too. So that's a really cool, just kind of get to know us a little bit. But you also see a lot of things we do in community service. And one thing we're pushing out is this Live Safe app. And even though your children aren't going to have their cell phones when they leave the dorms, all the folks that are going to be taking care of your students will, your children will have this something called the Live Safe app, where it's a direct connection to our police department, where they can text dispatch, take pictures of something suspicious going on, or even if there's lighting out. That's a really cool feature that we have. So that Live Safe app is a really neat deal that the folks that are taking care of your children can use. So that's a really, really cool thing there. Something else that you guys are going to see when you drop off your kids, and your kids are going to see, are these big blue phones. They're called tap phones. In an emergency, you can hit those, and that's going to create an audio message between you and the dispatchers. And it's also going to turn on a camera system that will come up, and police are going to respond to that. So that's really neat. And those are placed everywhere around campus. And they're also there to send out messages if for tornadoes, any sort of weather drill, or an active aggressor, or anything major that's going on campus. It's going to put out signals for that. So again, it's just like Alan's saying, some of the best training and also systems that we have put in place there. The other thing is any landline, if you call 911, it's going to go right to the UK Police Department. Other than that, it's going to be 859-257-1616. Will go to us. If you call 911 from a cell phone, it would go to Lexington Police, and then they would call us, because we are have about 60 police officers at the UK Police Department, because we do everything. You know, every call, we're a full-fledged police department. We have the canines, we have the motor units. So if something happens on campus, we're going to be responsible for it. I think it's kind of something that people don't realize. Some campuses do have smaller departments or don't have a department at all, and we're a full-fledged police department. We kind of do the whole thing, which is neat, because we have a lot of folks to take care of. Like Alan said, during the middle of the day, we have 60,000+ people, and if you count all the traffic, you know, we're right in the middle of everything. So everybody here is really well taken care of. I encourage you to look at some of that stuff online to kind of check out all the things that we have to offer. Alan, did I miss anything?
No, I think you touched on many things that I know we'll be training. Just to let the parents know, we will be training, and I'm sure Nick will let you know also.
Yeah.
We will be training with the faculty and the staff and the program people, and giving them tools on things that Andy just talked about.
Yeah, and if any of you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to look up either Alan and I's email and shoot us an email if you have any questions or concerns, and ask us, and we'll be glad to answer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alan and Andy. And one thing that you all reminded me of is to our parents watching, anything you can do to emphasize to your children before GSA, while you're on campus, keep your bags, your belongings close to you, keep your eyes on them. That will definitely be helpful. We will certainly be reinforcing that during GSA as well. So thank you all for mentioning that. And one thing that Alan and Andy reminded me of that I didn't mention earlier is for parents to know is that there will be a fire drill in the students' dorm during the first week of the program. So just want you all to have an awareness of that. If your child texts you at 12:30 in the morning during week 1 and says the fire alarm's going off, hopefully that means it's just our fire drill, but that is something that we anticipate doing. So just as a heads up. Alan and Andy, thank you all so much for taking such good care of us. We really are lucky to work with you all. For the parents watching, the rest of the information doesn't have as much to do with Alan and Andy specifically, so they're going to go ahead and take off. But thank you, Alan and Andy, for joining us. We look forward to seeing you on campus.
Thank you.
Take care. And by the way, to our parents watching, I don't think I formally introduced myself at the beginning of this video. That was my fail. But I am Nick Cobalt, the director of the Governor's School for the Arts, if you haven't caught on to that already. All right, just a few more items. This is a pretty short video. I'm going to just share my screen, and we'll continue on. All right, fantastic. So in terms of medical situations, responding to medical situations, just as an FYI, of course, if there's an emergency, we're going to call 911. But in non-COVID, non-emergencies, our RA staff can and will drive students to an immediate care center or a hospital. You are going to be notified when that happens, right? So you are always going to be notified as a parent or legal guardian if your child has to leave campus for any reason. The immediate care center or the hospital would count as leaving campus in our definition of that. We're also going to let you know if your child is experiencing any COVID symptoms, which would require them to be moved into an isolation room within the dormitory. And when I say isolation room, that might sound like sort of a dark phrase, but we just mean a room just like theirs, their normal room in the residential hall, except it's just put aside for anyone experiencing COVID symptoms. So they will have a bed, they will have a sink, they will have a bathroom, but it will just not be the room that they're sharing with a roommate. Students who do have to go into isolation with due to COVID symptoms, they will receive care from GSA staff. We don't forget about them by any means. So we'll deliver their meals and so on. And like I said earlier, we're going to be getting them tested as soon as we possibly can. And so hopefully we're getting that negative COVID test back soon and able to get them out of that isolation as soon as possible. And then still, do what we need to do to treat those symptoms and make sure that they're feeling healthy and have a path toward getting better. In the unfortunate and hopefully very unlikely situation that a student contracts COVID-19, just as a reminder, parents, you will be contacted, and we do need those students to be picked up within 24 hours. But like I said, hopefully we will never have to worry about that. When you are contacting your students during a program and also talking to them about GSA beforehand, please remind your child to take their medication and ensure they bring enough for 3 weeks. That's just a really great way that you can help us by supporting that with your students and reminding them to take that medication. We are very focused on and aware of students' emotional well-being during the summer program. We know it's easy for students to be homesick, nervous, or anxious about coming to GSA. That's totally understandable. For so many of them, this is the first time in that type of environment. That's very, very common for a lot of the students that we work with. So we do have a counselor in residence, a mental health professional. Her name is Bryony Rowe. So she lives in the student's dorm, and she is also an available resource 24/7. So we will work closely with her. Your students can always reach out to her. She can be a resource for anything, whether it's, hey, I had a tough day, to more serious issues. Please keep in mind that that counselor is a resource. The students are not always the first people to think about using the counselor as a resource. So if you feel like your student is going through something or experiencing something that the counselor could resource them on, or even just the mentorship of their residential advisor, the RA, or their faculty member, could be a resource to your student. Encourage your student to seek out that help and or contact us to let us know that you feel like your student maybe could use some more support but isn't quite sure how to reach out for it. And then I knew I was going to have at least one typo in this presentation. My last bullet point here is a repeat of my first bullet point, but it's worth repeating. Pack enough medication for 3 weeks, and please help us remind your children to take that medication if it is needed for them, if they need to do so. If you need to contact GSA during the summer program, there are a few ways to do that. First off, you can always email us. This is the same email address we've used probably the whole time we've been in contact with the program. So that's gsainfo@kentuckyperformingarts.org. Feel free to email us anytime. If you want to reach the dorm where your student is staying and talk to anyone in the residential life staff, that number is here at Holmes Hall, so the dorm where your students will be living in, 859-402-2780. Note that is staffed from 11 a.m., roughly 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. So not always staffed, but if you can't reach someone, leave a voicemail and we'll get back to you. And again, that's the residential hall. So that's if you need to drop off laundry detergent for your student and you need to arrange that or something like that. That's your number. You need to call the administrative office, which is going to come to myself or my team. That's 502-566-5192. Again, staffed roughly 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you call the wrong number between those two, we will get you to the right one, no worries. But the administrative office is more if you have a question about the program big picture, further down the road, or something like that. So note that every morning during weekdays, the entire school will be in the same virtual presentation from 8:45 a.m. to 9:30. So that's a harder time to reach us. On Saturdays, we start 1 hour later. Sundays, at least in the admin office, we don't start until 2. And on opening and closing day, not all of these phone lines are going to be staffed as much as usual. So just a couple pieces of context about when we might not be near the phone, but again, leave a voicemail if you can't reach us. We'll get back to you as soon as possible, or shoot us an email. In the event of an emergency where you need to reach someone at GSA in an emergency context, you can call this number that's listed here as the 24/7 emergency line, 502-641-6674. I'll be very transparent with you and say this is my personal cell phone number for me, Nick Koval. So please, if this is something where your student needs that laundry detergent, I ask that you not use this number for that. If you are contacting me in, I would say after 10 p.m. and before 6 a.m., please do call instead of text, just so that can, wake me up if needed. But I am here for you. The GSA team is here for you. So if you do need to contact someone at GSA anytime, please call this number, and we will be there. Finally, just a few other random pieces of information that are relevant to you. First off, a reminder of the program dates. Some of you have reached out to confirm these. Your student will move in on June 27th, and you will pick them up on July 17th. They will be living in residence at UK for all the dates in between. So we will be sending you a move-in schedule for June 27th, excuse me. But your child will be with us from June 27th to July 17th at the University of Kentucky in Lexington. Your students should not need to spend money during the program unless they want to like order takeout or something like that, but supplies will be provided. There's no fees that are due to us while they're there. So we always encourage some students to come with maybe some spending money for, you know, getting like food delivery or something, but we feed them three meals a day. So to be clear, when I say food delivery, that's more like the 10 p.m. second dinner that some of our students like to have, but they should not need money to spend daily during the program by any means. So no worries about that. If you have questions, let us know. We will have GSA merchandise this summer. It will be facilitated through an online merchandise store, so we'll make sure you have that link. But just so you know, all students will receive a GSA t-shirt free of charge at the program. So that's just for students, but all of the merch, either for yourself or additionally for students, beyond that one t-shirt they get, can be bought on an online merch store. That link will be sent to you. Keep in touch with us on social media. We'll be doing our best to post some photos from the summer program every day on Facebook and Instagram, so keep up with us there. Just as a reminder and a congratulatory message, your students are eligible for scholarships for completing GSA. There are almost, I think, 30 colleges and universities that offer scholarships targeted at GSA. So those are on the alumni section of our website, KentuckyGSA.org. We will make sure that you're connected to that information when you need it. But congratulations, and just keep that in mind over the next couple of years as you start exploring college options. And also in the fall, we will have an event called College and Career Day, where we will invite you and your student to take part in a large college fair in Louisville. And those who are seniors, students who are seniors, will have a chance to audition or review for multiple colleges at once. It's a really awesome alumni benefit at GSA. So I just want to get that in your radar and know that more will be coming. That event will likely take place in October or November of 2021. And then finally, I wanted to invite you all to help GSA keep making this program tuition free for future generations by sharing and donating to our Hey GSA campaign. That's at heygsa.org. That's our giving platform through which we'll be trying to raise at least $10,000 during the 3 weeks of the summer program this year. So we're really proud to provide GSA tuition free. It's a huge part of our legacy, and we want to continue doing that, but we can't do it without the public support. So please, as you see more information about that campaign, which will start on June 27th and July 17th, share that far and wide with your neighbors. Invite folks to send a message of support to these young artists by making a gift to GSA and saying, hey, you matter, and so do the future generations of artists. So we appreciate any help that you can provide us in sharing the news of that campaign. So that's it, other than saying congratulations and thank you for entrusting your child with us. We are really excited for the summer. We can't wait to work with them. Again, GSA info at KentuckyPerformingArts.org. Reach out anytime. It's really our pleasure to hear from you all. And other than that, we look forward to seeing you at Move-In on June 27th and making some art with your wonderful young artists. In the meantime, take care. Thanks.